Tua Tagovailoa was one of the most exciting prospects coming out of college. He had a very interesting and inspiring story. He won a national championship his freshman year, he battled through a ton of injuries. To be honest, he was very impressive. When the 2020 NFL Draft came around, the Miami Dolphins were happy to pick him up with the 5th overall pick. It seemed like a great fit, and Miami Dolphins everywhere were extremely excited to see what he could do to turn their team that struggled greatly in 2019 around. Tua sat behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, a veteran quarterback, for the first 6 games of the season, until the Dolphins finally decided to give him the starting job in Week 8 against the Los Angeles Rams. He didn't have the most impressive debut, but he followed it up with an incredible performance against the Arizona Cardinals. Although they weren't able to pull out the win, Tua showed that he could be a great player, and he's done fairly well ever since. Though he hasn't shocked anyone with his play, he hasn't necessarily played at an insanely high level. He's been a solid player and he shows tons of potential, and there's no doubt that he definitely has a ton of talent. Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores is known as one of the best defensive minds in football right now. He's shown that he can be successful as a defensive play caller, as his defense has been great this season. Flores came from the coaching tree that stemmed from Bill Belichick, learning that defensive philosophy during his time in New England, and he was even their defensive play caller in the year when the Patriots won Super Bowl 53 against the Rams. They held the Rams to 3 points in that game, and the Rams' offense was one of the most dominant in the league that season, so Flores was clearly impressive, and that was probably part of the reason why the Dolphins decided to hire him as their head coach. Since Flores is more of a defensive-minded coach, naturally the offensive scheme wouldn't be as impressive as the defensive one, but it has proven effective, and it's won them plenty of games so far. That said, it's a very simple offensive scheme, with no complex plays such as those of Andy Reid and other offensive-minded coaches. The Dolphins' offense seems to feature establishing their running game, then using it to run bootlegs and other rollout passes to gain yardage. Their system is fairly simple, which is great for Tua since it's helping them win games with a young, inexperienced quarterback. The Miami Dolphins' offense right now is top 10 in average time of possession and 13th in first downs per game. Though these stats are by no means signs of an elite offense, their offense is clearly getting the job done. With easy reads for Tua and the simple overall structure to the offense, Tua Tagovailoa is having no trouble winning games in the NFL. As I mentioned, the Dolphins' offensive scheme is so simple, and it features a ton of rollout passes. Tua has shown that he can be accurate as a passer, even on the run outside of the pocket on these rollout passes. This play here demonstrates his accuracy on the run pretty well. Although this play is not a rollout pass, it shows his accuracy on the run pretty well anyways. The defense is in a cover 1 man, meaning everyone is covered man-to-man and there's a single high safety who's free to roam the field. There's also a linebacker underneath who's there to help out underneath the same way the safety is over top. As you can see, the Bengals defense played this very well, and they covered up all the routes, so much so that the pass rush was starting to get to Tua. So as he was scrambling out of the pocket to escape the pressure, he just kept his eyes downfield. Since they were all covered, the receivers decided to turn their routes upfield to make something out of nothing on this play that was clearly breaking down. And Tua saw that opportunity, so he delivered a great ball under pressure, and that generated a huge play. Tua makes good throws on the run like these all the time. Here's yet another one from the Dolphins game against the Cardinals, Tua's second career start. This one was one of my personal favorite plays for Tua. This time, it was a designed play-action rollout pass, and the defense was playing zone coverage. Tua was able to fit the ball in very nicely to Mike Gesicki. It was a really good throw, and it once again demonstrates his excellent ability to throw on the run. It was a very simple play, and it's great that the Dolphins decided to give Tua a simple offensive system to use, as it will help him flourish and win games as he develops as an NFL quarterback. Another thing Tua has done pretty well this season is his ability to hit those deep balls pretty consistently. Although he definitely hasn't been anything extremely impressive in that area, his touch on the ball and his ability to hit those deep balls pretty accurately have been really good. Here's a deep ball he hit pretty well against Arizona. This ball was placed so well, and Tua managed to get it into his receiver's hands even with a defensive pass interference called against that receiver. I saw Tua make plenty of throws just like this one throughout all of his games this season, and he does it pretty well. Here's another one just for good measure, another good deep ball, this one from that game against the Chargers. On this play, although he fumbled the snap and was under an incredible amount of pressure, he knew Devontae Parker is good at getting 50-50 balls, so he gave him a shot, leading him backward to throw him open. On the surface, this looks underthrown, but it's most likely just Tua leading his receiver back to give him an opportunity to go up and get the ball and make a play. On top of the fumbled snap, a DB was coming off the edge in a free rush, and that blitz wasn't picked up. Regardless of this insane amount of pressure, Tua delivered a good ball to his receiver where he could go up and make the catch. Honestly, Tua has yet to prove his position as an elite quarterback in the league, but he's a great fit in Miami for the Dolphins, and he can make good reads the way his team's offense asks him to, and he makes the plays he's asked to make, and he does it well. The Dolphins' simple offensive system is, yeah, in a way, holding him back from padding his stats, but that's unimportant right now. The Dolphins' goal is to win games as a serious playoff contender, and Tua has done that well. He has a 5-2 record as a Dolphins starter. His team is more than likely going to go to the playoffs. Watching Tua, he's just slightly above average as an NFL quarterback right now for the most part. However, he has insane raw talent. It's there. Anyone who watches him play can see it. He has the accuracy, and it's so evident that his arm talent is God-given. Tua will develop very well with this talent, and this coaching staff that is more than willing to support that development. I think he will be a great quarterback for the Dolphins in the near future, and I cannot wait to see where he will take this team. Even if he doesn't do anything in the playoffs this year, I'm not losing my hope in Tua. He will be the franchise quarterback this Dolphins team so desperately needs, and don't be surprised if he wins them a Super Bowl in a few years. So now that we know that Tua has the arm, talent, leadership, and all the great traits that a team would want in their quarterback, how can the Dolphins build around him? So they know that he can be their franchise quarterback, but how can they support his development? To me, Miami's biggest offensive needs are at running back, offensive line, and wide receiver. They could use a running back who can help them establish their run game since they've had little stability at that position. They've switched between several different players at that position due to injury and other reasons. Their offensive line also doesn't have a single player who has performed well at all, including Austin Jackson, one of their first-round picks from the 2020 draft. As for wide receiver, they have a few solid players like Devontae Parker and Preston Williams, but neither of those guys have performed well enough in the 2020 season to be considered number one receivers for them. In the 2021 NFL Draft, Miami has 2 first-round picks, an early first-rounder that they received from the Houston Texans, and their own first-round pick, and that's going to depend on their performance in the postseason. Using these first-round picks to improve their offense and help Tua out would be a great idea. I think Miami should do everything they can to get a good running back like Najee Harris or Travis Etienne in the draft. In addition, patching up their offensive line and getting a consistent number one receiver using the draft or free agency would do them a lot of good as well. Speaking of the draft, I have a list with my rankings of the top prospects in the 2021 NFL Draft. If you want to check them out, the link is below in the description. These rankings will be constantly updating as I learn more about the prospects as we get closer to draft day. Feel free to check them out. Anyways, if Miami could get one of those top running back prospects, then their run game would be much more dominant, and that would open up more of the play action. As I mentioned before, the Dolphins love to run play-action rollout passes, so these would be a lot more effective if they actually had a stable running back who could be their guy at that position for years to come and help them establish that run game that they want. At the end of the day, the Miami Dolphins, in my opinion, have an extremely bright future. With that young, talented defense of theirs, now paired with their franchise quarterback of the future in Tua, and a great coaching staff with Brian Flores, and an excellent front office, Dolphins fans should be so excited about what they have in the future of this team. Like I said earlier, Tua Tagovailoa will take these Dolphins places in upcoming years if the Dolphins can surround him properly and help him develop smoothly, as they've done pretty successfully so far. I cannot wait to see what they do with Tua in Miami.